everyone, I am Casey Chuico. In a minute, I'm sure you'll hear Afra, the resident bird. We are here to teach you a little bit about how to play D&D. I have been running Dungeons & Dragons with the teens at the library for quite a few years now. I learned to teach them, so I want to impart some of that wisdom onwards to anybody who might be curious about how to do it and not know. And also in advance of the library's BeautyCon, which is happening later in October, later this month, and I'm hoping that this might inspire you to come join us and try out some D&D. One of the days we'll have at least one time slot of D&D, so please feel free to sign up for that. Signups might not be live quite yet, but they will be soon. Keep an eye out. We're going to be doing one of these every Thursday night for the first 3 Thursdays. This one's going to be about how to create your own character. You can also use a pre-generated character, which I will show you kind of how to find those. Next week is going to be how to play D&D with special guests of my roommates who will help me run like a kind of mini adventure to show how it all works. And the third week, we're going to then take that mini adventure and I'm going to kind of Afra, kind of walk you through the steps of what I did in that adventure from my end as the dungeon master, so that if you wanted to try and run it by yourself, maybe it'll give you the confidence to do that. So we're going to start today with creating a character. You're not going to see a lot of my face because I'm going to screen share. I think the easiest way to do it rather than holding things up here is to screen share. If you just search for D&D character sheet, they will pop right up. It is easy to do. I do it constantly. So you can find basically everything you need online. If you have a player's handbook, that is great. Everything's in here too, but you do not need one. You can Google everything you need right on the internet. The first couple times I did them, it was all just on the internet. So let me share my screen. And I'm going to share my screen. All right, so here, this is D&D Beyond. It gives you the basic rules. So this is a lot of the same stuff you're going to find in the player's handbook. And I'm going to walk you guys kind of through this as a way to figure it out. And then here, Afra, is a basic character sheet, which we're going to fill out, Afra, as we go along. And then here is if your character can do spells. This is the sheet, Afra, that you need. All right, so you may or may not need this. Some characters do spells from the beginning, some characters can do spells later, some characters never do spells, some classes, so that'll kind of depend. Now the bird's lecturing me to stop it, so that's where we're at today. So I'm going to start here, and my player name is obviously Casey. I have 0 experience points because I have not played, and I'm going to be a level 1. I'm going to pick my class. I'm going to pick something, well, you got to choose your race and your class. I'm going to pick class first. That's usually where I start. And it gives you all of your different classes and how to do them here, and ability scores and all that. This little sheet will be very important a little bit. You also need 4d4, which is 4d6s, which is 4 regular old-sided dice that you're going to need to be able to roll, and a piece of paper and a pencil, which I have as well. Maybe not a pencil. There's a pencil. So let's go back. Go back one here, and let's go. So here are our classes here. Barbarians don't generally do magic. Fighters have an option to do magic later on. Rangers and rogues also generally have an option to do it later on, but don't do it from the start. Everything else will use magic in some way. I am going to make let's make something I've never made before. Let's make well, maybe not. Magic or no magic. Let's make a monk. I've never made a monk before. So I'm not going to necessarily click on all of these pages, but as you can see, it gives you all the information you might need to make a monk. This also gives you quick build information, but basically what I'm going to use is I'm now going to go in. So what I can do is I can go into here, and I can say I am a monk 1, which means I'm a level 1 monk, And I'm going to go back in and click choose my race. Here are your race, general race options. There are other options beside that, but I'm going to stick with one of these. And I'm going to be a gnome monk because I have never been a gnome before. And that sounds like fun. So I'm going to be a gnome. They give you character names. You can also name yourself whatever you so desire. I'm not going to use that player handbook. I'm going to use this player handbook. We have multiple player handbooks in this household now. It's a problem. So when you go to like look up information on, say, a gnome, what it's going to give you is a little bit about kind of personality, but you can run it as the personality they suggest or not. D&D does have some roots that are not very progressive, to put it lightly. So obviously feel free to play your characters however you want. If you want to play a full orc, if you want to play an ogre, doesn't matter. Play whatever you want. A good dungeon master will work with you to figure out whatever you want to play, and will make it work. So basically it'll give you some traits. So gnomes get certain things like better intelligence, and I'm very short, obviously. I have dark vision, which means I can see it in the dark, which let me fill some of this information in. So I can say that my speed is 25 feet. Down here is my features and traits. So I'm going to say dark vision so that I know I have dark vision. I know I speak common. This is languages and proficiency, and gnomish. I am good against magic, which is cool. And then there's two options. You can be a forest gnome or a rock gnome. I'm gonna be a I'm gonna be a forest gnome because it means that I can talk to, I know the cantrip, so I can go into my magic thing, even though I know nothing else. I know minor illusion, which I will, you can also find all the spells online. You can look up any of the spells. I don't exactly know what minor illusion does. I can kind of guess based on what it is. And I also have speak with, I can also speak, speak with small beasts. So anything that's a small beast or smaller, I can communicate simple ideas back and forth. So that's pretty cool. So the next +2 is your proficiency bonus. That's everybody's when you start out proficiency bonus. Let's see what some names are. Gnome names. I'm going to be a female gnome. So let's say I like Carlin. And clan name Folker. Carlin Folker. And they also apparently have nicknames a lot that are just kind of words stuck together, like Sparkle Gem or Stumble Duck. But I think I'm just going to be Carlin. So there we go. So that's really what I need to know. And then I have +2. And there's just some other information, like it says that I have +1 in intelligence and +2 in dex, or +2 in intelligence, +1 in dex. I'm just noting that down because I will need that in a minute when I do the next thing. But I'm going to move on to finding my monk information. I've gone too far to find my monk information. How do alphabet, guys? Paladin comes after monk. How do alphabet indeed? All right, so a monk. So hit dice here means if I'm saying 1d8, you can see that there. That means that every time I level up, I get an extra, I get to roll a d8, which let me pull out a d8 and I will show you a d8, which are these cool little dice. I'll talk more about dice next week. I get to roll that to get new hit points. And it's saying, and then, okay, so let me roll for these. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll 4 d6s 6 times. So 4 regular old d6s 6 times, and write down the numbers. And those numbers are going to go in here, and they're going to determine things like your strength ability, how dexterous you are, how hardy you are, how smart you are, how kind of street smart knowledgey you are, and how charismatic you are. What you're gonna do is you're gonna roll your 4. You're gonna take your lowest number, which in this case for me is a 1. And you take that one out and you add up the rest. So I got a 5, a 4, and a 2. So that is 9, 10, 11. So my first one's 11. I'm gonna do that 5 more times. I will report back. That's 6 plus 6 plus 5 is 12 plus 5 is 17. That is very good. That is the second highest you can possibly get. Ooh, this one's bad though. This is 3 plus 2 is 5, 6, 7, a 7. So I went from top to almost to really terrible. So that's 6 plus 5 plus 2 is 11 plus 2 is 13. Ooh, this one's not great either. This one's 10. 5 plus 4 plus 1 is 10. So I'm going to be really good at some things and really bad at other things. And this one is 10. 3 plus 3 plus 4 is also 10. So yeah, I have a really high score and a really low score. I am, so they suggest that dexterity and wisdom be your highest 2 scores. So I will put dexterity will be a 17, wisdom will be a 13. I'm going to say that I am not at all charismatic. So that's my 7. And then I think intelligence and these two, not 111. Woo, not even possible. All right, now let's go back to this page and we're going to go back to determine ability scores. So now we're going to go back to this handy little score chart. No, that's not the one I want. Okay, I'm going to Google it. This is what I always do. So I'm going to go up here, D&D ability. Just pop up D&D ability scores. Is that what I want? I think I want ability modifiers. D&D ability modifiers. I don't know why my computer's being weird. So I'm going to go into here. It's apparently going to take forever to load. This is not the page I usually use. I don't know why. Okay, but this gives me an idea. All right, so here, for example, you see here, my score was a 7. It means I have a -2, which is not good. That means anytime I roll something, when I'm trying to be charismatic, I have to subtract 2 from that number, which means I am not going to be good at charisma. But here's my 17th, and that's a +3. So that's really good dexterity. So anything that involves me being dexterous, which I will show you what some of those things are in a bit, will be really good. And we're going to go 10 and 11 are all +0. So 3 of mine are +0, which means I don't add or subtract anything. I just take the number on the dice. And my 13 gives me what? 13 here gives me a +1. So not a great roll. I've definitely rolled better. I have also probably rolled worse. So that gives you this information. Now, how do you use this information on your character sheet? Well, if you see here on the skills, all of them have like acrobatics and then dex. So basically they're going to be the same as, so if I say my dexterity is +3, my acrobatics is going to be +3. Now these little squares here show the things that you are particularly good at. So for example, I am really good at saving throws. This is if something, you're reacting to something, like if a poison spreads and you have to like try and fight it off, that's going to be a constitution saving throw, that sort of thing. I have proficiency in strength and dexterity, which means I get to add a +2. So this one's a +2. This one is a +5. Did I write? Yeah, did I write the right? Okay. Oh wait, I've forgotten. I even wrote them down. I actually get a +1 in dexterity and a +2 in intelligence because of the fact I am a gnome. So this is actually a +4. So this is actually going to be a +6. And this is actually going to end up being a +1, which is awesome. That is a good little ability as a gnome. And then I get to choose two of these things to be good at, and I have a choice from a bunch. So I'm going to pick acrobatics because I'm really good at dexterity. I'm going to pick stealth because I'm really good at dexterity. I think that's everything. Yeah. So that means this I get to also have a +6. This one I get to have a +6. And everything else, and I'm not going to bother filling this out, is going to be exactly what your number is here. So like animal handling is a wisdom, it's going to be a +1. And you just go down the line. All right. So I'm going to go back to, nope, not there. This is this is just dnd.wizards.com. It's the Wizards of the Coast. If you just type in D&D character sheets, this is the first thing that'll come up. I should have mentioned this. These are some of the starter set characters. These are pre-made characters, level 1, that you can use. Or if you click on this, this is where you will it'll pop up a thing. You can open the zip file and open any of these files. That's where I get my information from. But here, if I go back to my basic rules and I go back here, let's see. So now, if you clicked on monk, I'm not going to because it takes so long to load. It would give you, other information. So, like for example, I have my D8 for my hit dice. So my starting hit points is my D8 plus my Constitution, which, as you can see, is 0. So my hit points to start with are only 8. Not great. Initiative is actually really good because that is the same as your dexterity modifier. So it is a +4. That means when you're going to like fight and do stuff, you get to add a +4 to what you roll, which probably means you get to fight things quicker. We're not going to get into like death saves and temporary hit points. That's just stuff that you can talk to your DM about if that so happens. I'm also not going to get super into these things here. These things here I will talk about in a minute, but I'm not going to actually film in because it would just be a lot of typing. Passive wisdom here is basically 10 plus your wisdom modifier. So my passive wisdom is 11. Now I get to pick some fun stuff as far as weapon. I get to pick a short sword or any simple weapon. I'm going to go with the short sword. I like short swords. And of course, the one problem with this fill-in thing is that I'm going to just say short sword. It doesn't quite always fit. Your attack bonus, if you are proficient in those things, which I am, I'm proficient in short swords, means that I get my +2 for my attack bonus, but I also get to get my strength, which is 0, so my attack is merely +2. Honestly, I should probably go with, I also have darts. For this, I really should probably go with a ranged weapon, because then you get to add your dexterity, and I'd have a +6, but for the sake of argument and the sake of speed, I'm going to do this. And then you can look them up right on here. If you look up weapons, they will give you, I'm going to actually let it load this time, all the information on weapons. So these are simple melee weapons, so I could have taken any of these weapons. Also simple ranged weapons, I could have taken any of these weapons. My short sword is down here, it's 1d6. So that's, if I hit something with my short sword, what I get to roll is a 1d6. So I'm going to write that here. Plus, in this case, plus nothing because I don't have any strength modifier. So again, if I had a ranged weapon, I would get the +4 here. So I really should probably I probably should have picked a short bow or I should have done a light crossbow. That would have given me 1d8, so a little bit more +4. So if I was going to use this character, I probably would edit it to do that instead. Darts, it tells me somewhere in here, darts are 1d4, but they're thrown, so I get 1d4. Keep opening the wrong thing, sorry guys. 1d4 plus 4, and this is +6. So actually, weirdly, my darts are probably more effective than my short sword. I only have 10 of them, 10 darts. All right, let's go back to my monk. You always get a pack of some sort. I think the packs are on here. Let me go. I think it's under adventuring gear. The easiest way to do this, especially if you're doing the fill-in thing, is equipment packs. So I can pick either as a Dungeoneer or an Explorer's pack. So I can get this one or this one. I'm going to go with the Dungeoneer pack because I like doing stuff that could be used for other purposes. And then I'm just going to copy and paste that right into my equipment. So I know I have all this stuff. So really the only other thing I need to do, so yeah, you get certain benefits as different characters. For a monk, I'm really good at martial arts. So I'm really good at monk weapons, which are short swords and melee weapons, or unarmed strikes. So I get to punch people really well. And that is basically all I get yet. There will be things at as you get to higher levels, you will get other abilities. And I would fill in all of the abilities in this section of anything that I got. So like, I'm just gonna, just for simplicity's sake, I'm just gonna say martial arts. So then I know to go look that stuff up. And actually monks are really complicated. I wouldn't necessarily suggest starting with a monk because there's this whole thing with Kai where it's not really magic, but it's similar to magic. So I wouldn't necessarily suggest starting with them, but this is where I am. I'm a tiny gnome martial artist. So then one of the things you wanna pick, and this might change some of your numbers a little bit, which makes this a little weird to do as always, but you gotta just kind of go with it, is you gotta pick a background. So let me turn to the background section. Let me show you where you can, the backgrounds on here are a little weird. Okay, going back. Backgrounds. They do have them all, but they're, as you can see, like they go off the edge of my screen. So you just kind of have to scroll. Like here's an acolyte, but you can also just Google search it. So here, like, let's say I wanted to be an acolyte. This gives me extra proficiencies. So I would also therefore be able to check off, nope, not here. Which two were they? Insight and religion. So I would get good at insight. So I could add a plus 2 to both of those. So they would both be +3. I also get 2 more languages. So here you can see where you can find the languages. I get to pick 2 more languages. And I also get all this stuff. So like I get 15 gold pieces, which you can like copy this too, right into your character sheet down here. And then here's my gold pieces. I get 15 of them. And then here's a certain thing. I command respect of those who share my faith, except I can perform the religious ceremonies of my deity. If we find one of my temples, you know, we get free healing, et cetera, et cetera. There's some cool stuff. And then here, I was telling you that there's this whole section up here. So here you can see, you can have it pick for you things like personality traits. So here it's saying roll a D8. And so like if I rolled a D8 right now, which I will do, because I have my D8 out from earlier. Let's see what I get. I got a 1. So my personality trait would be I idolize a particular hero of my faith and constantly refer to that person's deeds and example. So that would give you something, you know, and you do the same thing. Here you roll a D6 and it gives you an ideal. It also gives you your like whether you're lawful, good, chaotic, any, etc. A bond and a flaw. You can also make them up on your own, but they do provide them if you like any of them. You also don't have to roll. Like if I was like, oh, nothing can shake my optimistic attitude, that is what I want my character to be like. Absolutely, make them that way. And then you can just, again, if you're filling it out this way, you can just copy and paste them right in here. If not, you got to write them in. So my background would be acolyte. Normally my characters tell me their alignment as I go, but you can also pick one ahead of time. You know, you could be like lawful, good, or whatever you wanted. I think the only other thing we need to talk about is armor class. I'm pretty sure for a monk, I also get a type of artisan tool or a musical instrument, which you can find online if I wanted to. So I'm wearing no armor and wielding no shield at level 4. So my AC my armor class, which is armor class, equals 10 plus my dex modifier, 14, plus my wisdom modifier. So my armor class is 15. And that's so what you know, so that if your Dungeon Master is having somebody attack you, they will ask you your armor class, because if they roll that or higher, then it will hit you. If they roll less than that, the other character misses. So yeah, I think that's basically it. You know, if you have other proficiencies, like I am really good with like artisans, my particular artisan tool. I'm also good with short swords and melee weapons, plus unarmed combat. You can fill these things in as you go, but that's the basic idea of how this works. And then when you level up, you'll do things like you'll roll a d8, you'll add that number plus your Constitution modifier, which in my case is 0, and add that to your hit points so that you get stronger. Other things will change. You can Google these things online. They're all online. But also, if you have the player's handbook, you can also use that to find out all this information. As I said, so in this case, all I have is minor illusion. Basically, I'm a monk. No monk. I don't really have these things. The way minor illusion works is you just cast it and it happens. So honestly, if it was me, I would just say in here, instead of bothering with one of those sheets, I would be like, has minor illusion. And then like maybe description here, so that I know what minor illusion is and that I have it so that I can use it if I need it, rather than bothering with this. I will explain this sheet real quick. If you are doing somebody who's a spell caster, these things will be one of your modifiers. This will be usually 8 plus your proficiency, so basically 10, plus your modifier here, whichever modifier it is, and it depends on what magical creature type of magic you're using. Here you'd list any of your cantrips. These are things that you can do as many times as you possibly want. This is how many slots you have. Here's the names of the spell. This you just keep like tally marks, ideas of, okay, I only have 3 slots that I can use, and I've used 2 of them. I only have 1 of these spells left before I rest. And we'll talk a little bit more about that probably at a later time too. And again, as you get higher and higher, there's higher and higher level spells that you can add. But that's also something that your DM can help you with. But the books will talk you through how to do all that. So here's your basic character sheet. I will probably not ever use this character because, again, monks scare me a little bit now that I know what they are, which is why I picked something I'd never done. But I did roll really good in Dexterity. That is the highest Dexterity. The +4 is highest modifier I've ever had, especially starting out the gate. So yeah, so this is basically how you do it. You can also fill it out by hand. There's printable ones. And there's your character sheet. So I hope that this has been helpful, and I will see you, let me stop share. I will see you guys next week, 6 p.m. Thursday night, to do a little mini adventure with my roommates. I talk you kind of through all the different parts, introduce you to all the dice, because there's a lot of different sided dice. And then the last week, in 3 weeks, or in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today, we will be doing, we'll be talking through that adventure that I've run with them and where my brain was at and how I was making decisions as the DM for them as we went. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. If there's anything I didn't answer, I am more than happy to come back and answer anything in the comments. I'll be keeping an eye on them. Hope to see you at BDCon for all of our events, but especially our Dungeons & Dragons. Keep an eye on our calendar and our social media for more information as it comes out. We're still nailing down the schedule. And thanks for watching.